Hello lovelies and welcome.
The longer I've waited, the more that I've tried.
Do you know, I was walking through my front door the other day and something occurred to me that I was stepping over the threshold, and it started a whole series of thoughts about things that have happened to me over this past year. And I guess it all started when I went to Bali on my own last April. And you know, we have very little, control sometimes about when these changes start to occur. All I knew was that I was very burnt out. I needed to get away on my own. I needed to regroup and just think about where I was at. And, you know, there's that old saying, isn't there, that overthinking is like a rocking chair. It gives you something to do, but gets you nowhere. And I always overthink everything. I even overthought my trip to Bali. Wasn't sure if I was going to do it on my own. It's the first time I've ever been away on my own. So yeah, it was a big moment for me. Whilst I was away in Bali, I released a lot of negative energy. I ate well, I slept well. Boy, did I sleep. I slept really well. I read books, I sat by the pool, I swam, and I just sort of relaxed and thought, okay, everything is going to be okay. You know, I often have unrealistic expectations of myself. But it's hard, isn't it? Because we really don't know when these changes or these thresholds will come upon us. We just know that they do. And as women, we need to handle those. So the next step that I took was coming back from Bali and decluttering my craft room. I'd accumulated lots of stuff. You know the type of thing. You go to the thrift shop, you buy something that you think is going to be awesome for a journal, and you get back and you store it, but you don't use it. So that's what was happening. So I went through a really huge decluttering process. Now, some people said to me, wow, you should have done this with it, or you should have done that with it. And that's all fair enough. But what I did with it was I got it out of my room and then out of my head, because what was happening was it was sort of blocking my creativity because I had just too much stuff in my craft room. And it just looks so much better now. It's clear, my desk is clear, I am able to come straight into here of a morning and sit down and just get on with what I was doing. I don't know if you remember, but before I used to have the pigeonholes on my desk, and the desk wasn't quite wide enough. And so what was happening was I was sitting down and immediately felt like there was something in front of me and I couldn't sort of create. So yeah, I decided that I was going to move those, and they're now down the other end of the room. And I just like it a lot better. I can get up from my chair and I go over and I get out the papers that I need. I look through the other stuff that's there, and it just suits me so much better. So then in my process, I decided that it was time for the next step. The next process step was getting rid of toxic people. I am a yes person. I tend to say yes immediately to something. I'm always helping somebody. I'm always willing to give and give and give, but to my own detriment. Now, this is something that I've had to learn about myself in recent years because it just seemed a natural thing for me to do. I'm a firstborn child. You know, the characteristics of a firstborn child is that they want to please. They're always wanting to do what makes others happy. I don't know why it is, and I'm probably generalizing, but that's how I know that I am. And so what I had to do was just step back a little bit and just think, hang on a minute, before I just say yes to whatever it is, I had to think, now how is this going to affect me spiritually, physically, mentally, emotionally, because it can be so taxing. I'm actually an empath, so when I give too much, it affects me so that I can't sleep or I worry about people. So yeah, what I decided to do was to just kick back a bit. I realized that it was me contacting people. It was me making the calls. It was me texting. It was me giving. And so I decided just to step back and give myself me time. Now, that sounds a little bit selfish, and it sounds selfish when I'm saying it, but I needed that time. I needed that time just to process, to slow down, to just be me and allow myself to find out what it is about me that I want to discover and spend more time doing. And, that is like thrifting, or I can just completely switch off when I'm thrifting, and I love it. I don't ever spend a lot of money, but I just unwind, and it amazes me some of the things that I find. I just can't believe, were these things ever popular in the first place? I don't know. Some of the clothing just makes me laugh, but then now I try to think, well, how can I repurpose that? How can I make that into something else? And that's the beauty of thrifting. But I love doing it. So that's what I decided to do, was spend more time doing what I love. Whether that's reading, which I absolutely love doing, whether that's walking Buddy at the park or collecting leaves for a journal. All of those things are things that I want to do for me, which I can't do if I'm doing things for other people. So yeah, toxic people, or what I would call toxic people, I had to drop off. I just had to back off a little bit because I couldn't take their drama as well as my own. So I decided just to spend some time just going inwards and regrouping. So I'm sure you all understand that. And journaling is such a wonderful thing for that. And I have journals that I write poetry in. Now, the poetry isn't award-winning or anything like that. It's not even close. But it's stuff that I want to write, that I've got in my head, and that I find enjoyment from. So I often get my journal out and just write a poem, something that's on my mind, something that I'm thinking about. And I've found, I don't know, you can feel like you're being selfish, but really you're being selfless. You're spending more time concentrating on yourself, and you're journaling and making journals and just having quiet time in your craft room, which is really a gift. With the way that the world is right now, that is a huge gift to give yourself. So cheers to you. I hope that you manage to do that too. And coffee. Life is too short not to drink coffee, isn't it? All right, so what was the next thing that I worked on? Well, that was body image. Now, not sure about you, but when I was about 20, I was always dieting. And what's happened over the years is that I ended up bigger than when I started. It's crazy, but that's the way it works, because I don't think we're supposed to diet. So what I've done is gone back to, walk Buddy in the morning. I try and eat well, and I've just stopped dieting. And another thing is I've stopped shaming myself for the way that I look. I don't look in the mirror anymore and think, who am I? Or why do you look like that? Or anything like that. I've just stopped with a whole lot of it. I just am happy just to be who I am. And who I am is okay. It's always okay now. I don't have to worry anymore. I can just be me, dress how I want, look how I want, have my hair cut how I want. I don't have to be thinking about what other people think. And it sort of comes after the last step, which was getting rid of toxic people or judgy people or people that will make comments in your life that you really don't need. And once you get rid of those, you can move to the next step where you are more happy in your own skin. You don't worry so much about what other people think or what they say about anything. So this has been quite a process that started last April. So we're now in February. So that's like 10 months that I've been sort of on this journey. Yeah, 10 months. So
I've been asked to slow down. Fireplace,
coffee is
do you
soon.
know how? Piles of paper, my desk is out. Who will care for the world now? Rest with me, close to curtains, brew some herbal tea.
So I guess finally what I want to say is that I often overthink things. Like, I'm a big overthinker. If I'd have thought this last 10 months through, I wouldn't have started. You know, I am an overthinker, and so if I think too much about a step, if I was to say, oh, you know, over the next 10 months I'm going to do X, Y, and Z, I probably wouldn't have got started because I would have overthink the whole process, and then I would have just scared myself and not bothered. So I just got started. You know, I went to Bali, came home and decluttered. I started swimming and walking. Well, I always walked Buddy, but now I walk him a little bit more. And, you know, sometimes I walk to and from the park. So, yeah, and then I stopped sort of shaming myself. So it's been a long process, but journaling really helps with this because you can often journal your thoughts. You know, you've seen me doing morning pages, and they really, really help because it's just a stream of unconscious thinking. You just get up in the morning, you go to wherever it is that you like to write. Mine's my craft room. And I just sit down and I write 3 pages of whatever comes into my mind. And sometimes I can't even think how to start. I'm like, well, what am I going to write? So what I do is just start writing a word, you know, pancakes or boxes or something. And then my mind sort of starts to unwind and unravel and go, okay, we need to offload this. That's right, you've just reminded me I need to say this. And then I just write 3 pages. Just write, don't even think about what I'm writing or who I'm writing about or what comes out, because that's the stream of unconscious thinking. You just are unloading. And I find after doing that, that you can then get on with the rest of your day. You don't have to think too much about what's, you know, clogged up in your brain from what you dreamt the last night or anything like that. And, you know, meditating on what you're writing can also help. I don't meditate on the morning pages, but I have lots of other journals, you know, lots of journals. Like I talked about my poetry journal. I have commonplace books that I write quotes in that I really love from books that I've read. And I have other journals where I do bits of art in, and they're just like freehand bits of art. They're not, you know, they're not a Van Gogh or anything like that. But these are things that I've started to do because they help me with my mental health as well. So yeah, these are all the changes that I've made in the last 10 months, and I can only see a positive future because I have made the changes and now they've become sort of part of what I do. They're me. That's what I want to say. They're me. So as I go on and as I get older, and as you know, I'm making this blog or this channel or this vlog, whatever you want to call it, for my grandchildren, great-grandchildren and so on, so they can see what I was thinking who I am. They can see me more as a 3D kind of person. And I always want to add things to this channel like that. But I think us women talking about these things to each other also helps, because we tend to just close up. But you know, in the past, women who lived in a village used to all gather and they used to help each other. And you know, if somebody had a problem or something to discuss, they all helped. They all rallied around. They got in a circle, or they did their little rites that they did, you know, for people giving birth or passing through some other stage in their life. And we've kind of lost that. But as I approach the 5,000 subscribers here, I realize that I've got a village. I've got a village of you guys all around the world. And there's 5,000 of us now. You know, that's a nice little village that we've got going on. And it feels intimate, and it feels like I can discuss these things with you, and that probably a lot of you feel the same way. So I just want to thank you for being here today, because it's really helped me to make this video. We never know when these changes, these seasons of our life, these stepping over the threshold into something new and exciting, or a different part of your life. You know, as you get older, you sort of calm down a little bit, don't you? You're not so eager to do everything that you wanted to do in your 20s. So yeah, just thank you for being here, sharing this with me. I hope that you'll share your stories down below, because I love to hear them. I love to hear how you're getting on, or how you cope, or what changes you're making in your life and how that's affecting you. So thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. If you're not subscribed, I hope you will subscribe. We have some fun here. I'm always making different journals, lots of different ideas that I've got ready for the next few months and the next year. I've got lots of things planned out. So thanks, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
The longer I've waited, the more that I've tried. All the